Hello and welcome back everybody to the Join the League season number 4, a 2-game series between Invasion Esports and MiTH Trust, where we are looking at game number 2. Invasion, they took game number 1 so convincingly. I think it was like a 21-minute GG, or at the very least extremely close to that time frame. So we're gonna see if MiTH Trust can just step it up a little bit. But I'm not alone here. I am joined also by OD Pixelman. What are your expectations for game 2?
Well, I'm kind of expecting Invasion to go for the same kind of strategy that they did in the first game. Kind of pick these very strong early to mid-game heroes, because they did run it very, very well, and MiTH just seems to be unable to deal with that. I mean, we see MiTH come straight out now with a very strong combo. You know, they get the Centaur War and a Skyroth Mage combo out, which is pretty ridiculous, especially if you put the Centaur War in that farming position, get the Blink Dagger on him very, very early. It's going to be very effective, especially against a lineup that is going to involve a Batrider. Obviously picked up first by Invasion. You know, having that counter to the Batrider jumping in, you know, if you quick with the Ancient Seals, suddenly Batrider's in the middle of nowhere with nothing to help him get out, and obviously just having the blink on the center as well, being able to chase down the initiations from the Batrider. So I think so far, I mean, it's obviously very early days, but MiTH Trust, they've got the means to deal with a lot of the kind of things that Invasion were throwing at them in the first game.
They're definitely gonna have to just improve on what happened in game number 1. Just even though the rotations weren't all that heavy coming out from Invasion, still Razor managed to die so many times in the mid lane. So maybe just defend the mid lane or put more aggression on the map by yourself. Skyroth Mage definitely a good support to do so as Invasion. A second pick Dragon Knight. It's a hero that you don't see all that often nowadays at all. But second picking it, is it just too early? I mean, what are the odds that that hero would have been banned?
I mean, that's the kind of question you have to ask. Anytime a hero such as this is picked at this early stage, is like, what's the thought process here? I mean, the only reason you would pick it at this stage is if you want to kind of bait out picks and bans from MiTH Trust and make them focus on other areas of the draft. But I don't know how effectively that's going to work. And I mean, Dragon Knight is a strong hero. You know, his pushing power is pretty ridiculous once you get the old Dragon form online, and it's going to definitely fit with the kind of play style that Invasion were using in the first game. But at the same time, you know, it's almost certain that this Dragon Knight is going to be popped into the mid lane, and obviously with MiTH still yet to pick up their mid lane hero, there's a lot of heroes who do work very nicely against the Dragon Knight. Consequently, actually, though, Razor and Death Prophet would have been 2 of those, but MiTH have already banned them out, so perhaps that's why Invasion felt it was safe to pick the Dragon Knight at this point.
It might be so, and even if Dragon Knight is in an unfavorable matchup, you can still farm up reasonably well, just having the Breathe Fire, Bottle Crowing, and just getting something at the very least out of it. And Dragon Knight really needs XP more than the early farm. Early farm is never bad on any hero, but you can do without. Once you get that level 6, you can start going for towers. Maybe even just for ganks. Just the increased range on the Dragon Tail is such a good tool to have. And Invasion themselves, they banned out an Anti-Mage and the Medusa both. Usually it's like you ban out one or the other and maybe pick out which wasn't banned, but MiTH banning out the Disruptor, it makes complete sense since they did go for the IO now.
Okay, yeah, they're picking the IO. Now, we're talking about obviously Dragon Knight giving away a fair bit. I mean, IO gives away a little bit, but the great thing about IO now, at this stage of the game in general, is so many heroes work very well with IO, so it's very hard for Invasion to go, right, they're going to be running this, unless they know the team and they know what the team's been practicing and running in previous games, which depends how much they've done their homework. That might be able to help them a little bit, but there's a lot of heroes that MiTH have to kind of pick from that will work nicely with the IO. And IO is great in the sense that obviously it buffs up weaker heroes in the earlier stages. It does allow you to go a little bit greedy, so perhaps we are going to see MiTH pick a greedy farming carry, but at the same time, you know, they might just pick a high impact early game hero that IO is going to allow to bring around the map and get straight in with the burst damage. I mean, already we're talking about the Centaur Skyroth combo. The IO Centaur combo, pretty nice as well as soon as Centaur's got his blink, just allowing IO to take him behind enemy lines on any lane and just going in with the old blink, hoof stomp, and double edge. It's a fair bit of burst damage, but I don't know, there's a lot of options for MiTH here, and Invasion, they're going to pick up a Witch Doctor. Obviously, anytime you see an IO picked up, Witch Doctor's quite a nice counter pick. Obviously, with the old Paralyzing Cask, and being the fact that IO is going to be standing next to a hero the majority of the time, it's going to help blow the little IO up, especially with the Death Ward.
And Witch Doctor was the support for Invasion in the last game as well. Worked out reasonably well. really the Voodoo Restoration didn't even come into play, but like you said, Paralyzing Cask up against IO, it's really one of the better spells to have. Especially if you're expecting the IO to come in for the rescue with the Relocate, for example. Because he's going to tether from a long range, and when you do that, you're going to be next to the target once the tether, well, the early animation of it ends.
Yeah.
So, really nice hero to have, like you mentioned. MiTH Trust, though, now. Do they go for the IO partner straight away, or are they going to leave it as the 5th pick? And, well, it's a Sven. It may or may not be the partner for IO, but IO definitely can synergize with the Sven. Plus, of course, Sven, otherwise, his mana pool is just absolutely horrible. IO will help remedy that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Sven's great, and I reckon that will be the IO hero, and I think this kind of means we are going to see the Centaur have a kind of more standard, just run it in the off lane on his own. But the Sven pickup, I mean, it's going to be very nice against the Witch Doctor and the Bat Rider, but Dragon Knight, I feel he is going to be able to deal with Sven pretty darn well. I mean, at the later stages of the game, he's going to be so tanky, this Dragon Knight. I'm not quite sure the Sven is going to be able to man up and take him 1v1, especially with the Bat Rider, jumping in and grabbing him. Obviously, Sven being a natural BKB carrier, Bat Rider with the Flaming Lasso, he's still going to have something to say about that. And as long as they're able to pick off the Sven early in the team fights and the engagements, I don't think he's going to be able to just walk in, get a few crits, and just cleave away at the Dragon Knight. And especially now, as we see Abaddon, actually this time picked up by Invasion for themselves. I mean, that's going to also be very nice against the Sven.
Yeah, now Abaddon plus the Witch Doctor, Voodoo Restoration, Aphotic Shield, and Mist Coil. It's going to be so hard for MiTH to just land the kills, at least when Abaddon is just on point with the plays as well as his positioning. For example, Centaur comes in with the Hoof Stomp, they want to follow with the Mystic Flare, Aphotic Shield, get rid of the Hoof Stomp stun, and he should be able to run his way out of there. And MiTH Trust, once again banning out the Necrophos. I think it was Invasion banning it out in the last game, but they just want to make sure that the hero isn't around. It would have been maybe a hero that MiTH could have ran themselves, really. IO plus the Necrophos, Necrolite, however you want to call it. It's a pretty good combo.
It is a very good combo, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with that heal from Necro, if you're tethered up to the IO, you're going to heal the IO, and then the IO is going to heal you for the amount that you've healed him in return, as well as healing itself. So it's essentially a double heal. And especially if you get like an early mech and magic stick and a bottle on the IO, it can be run very well. And I think it's actually one of the combos we saw EG run a few times in Starlighter very effectively. But yeah, it could have worked with them. But I think this kind of does narrow it down to the fact that Sven almost certainly is going to be with the IO. And in fact, Invasion banning out the Viper, slightly questionable. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't look like that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Viper would have been very nice against the Sven, obviously with that attack slow going through magic immunity. So not quite sure why Invasion didn't want to pick that up for themselves, but we shall see. And obviously this Slark pickup. Now, what do you think we're seeing in terms of lane? Are we going to see a Slark mid? Are we going to see a Sven IO mid?
Sven IO wouldn't be bad. I mean, Dragon Knight can't do too much to the Sven, especially if it's supported by an IO, and IO should be able to kind of harass the Dragon Knight in return. Yeah. Sometimes, if you're up against, for example, an Invoker, IO can't really go for at least the physical harassment, but up against a melee hero, you could still go for it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Slark either, really. I mean, doesn't really matter that much with which hero MiTH are going to send mid, I think. Slark might be a little bit better in just getting the guaranteed levels and maybe a little bit more rune control, or else IO is going to get the runes anyway, I guess, so it doesn't make much sense. But Invasion, Bristleback for their last one, with the Dragon Knight and the Bristleback, and the heals provided by the supports, they have a crazy amount of just sustain in the fights. They're so tanky, but late game, I'd still favor MiTH, although that was the same case in the last game, but it just didn't get to the late game, so we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, Bristleback, Abaddon, Witch Doctor, that's just the perfect kind of early to mid-game tower diving lineup. And, I mean, yeah, if Invasion play it as well as they did in the first game, it's definitely going to be a lot of trouble on the horizon for MiTH.
So, I guess just to go over the lineups as well, for the last game of this particular series, Ghost will be heading towards the offlane once again on the Bat Rider, as in game number 1. Okay, we'll be playing the Witch Doctor, leaving ADTR on the Abaddon. Keiichi Kimba heading towards the mid lane on the Dragon Knight, with FCFC being the safe lane Bristleback. And do they run dual lanes themselves as well here?
I mean, I guess so by the looks of it. Yeah, I didn't expect this, but man, it looks like what they're going to be running. And Okay, so it's more of a position one kind of farming bristleback by the looks of it, but interesting lanes indeed coming out from the side of Invasion. But on the side of MiTH at the moment, it looks like we are going to just see the Slark being played by MyPro in the mid lane. It is going to be the standard He on the Centaur Warrunner off lane, and down in there, safe lane tri lane, we're going to have Lekels on that farming Sven, and it's going to be Aya being played by SD, and also the Scarif Mage being manned up by Gotcha. But yeah, interesting to bring out the dual lanes in this, and I don't think this is something that the side of MiTH will be expecting necessarily.
It's probably not. Abaddon, of course, won't probably get too much out of it. Batrider will stay in XP range, whereas Abaddon will stay far enough back to be able to just afford the shield once the Sven stun comes out. And Sven can't throw the Stormhammer all too many times. Io is going to go for a straight off puddle though, not a single item purchased so far. So the puddle rush Io is going to come out. They're probably going to start stacking as well, or I would hope for them to stack the jungle as much as they possibly can. Io himself with the spirits can start farming them up later on. Slark with the Dark Pact if need be, but most importantly of all, Lakels of course on the Sven can clear them up so damn fast with a few points into cleave. And he's gonna find the double damage as well. If only there would have been a fight now with the double damage. But double damage gonna help him last it for a little while, but it's gonna wear off soon enough.
Yeah, it's going to give him a few losses, but yeah, it's unlikely we're going to see any early aggression, especially obviously as you were saying, with this Abaddon hanging on the backlines, looking for the Aphotic Shield anytime the Stormhammer comes in. That's going to be a bit of a nuisance for MiTH, because I think with this lineup they would have liked to look for some very early aggression. In fact, look, here we go straight away, but Aphotic Shield is going to be popped, and I mean, that's it really. I mean, obviously the mana pool of Sven as well isn't going to allow him to throw out that Stormhammer too regularly. In fact, we see the side of Invasion trying to turn this one around. Do need to be careful though, because Lekels does still have that double damage on him. But a lot of stacks going down on the Scarif Mage, but at the same time, Batrider needs to be careful. Double damage is hitting away pretty hard. That's got the Aphotic Shield though. And unfortunately, I mean, if that Batrider was level 2, Gotcha would have been in a lot of trouble, but obviously Gotcha knew that, and knew that even with 4 stacks on him, he was fine to be positioned quite aggressively. But a little bit of aggression coming out from both sides, but I think it's going to be hard for MiTH to find the kills down here, simply, obviously, because the side of Invasion have got a Abaddon hanging around with the Batrider.
To be fair, I think Invasion made a slight mistake. It just cost them way too many consumables to go for the harass, and they didn't even get that much damage into the Skywrath. Nor did Lakels really have to expend any of the mana apart from the first Stormhammer he went for. So Invasion, I mean, it's not like Abaddon is going to be able to sustain himself forever. He has that one clarity, but he's going to run out of mana soon enough at the moment though. He's being efficient, going to just farm up, or not farm, but stack the Ancients. So that's nicely done. Mid lane, MyPro of course, coming out ahead heavily so. They already went for the early aggression. Dragon Knight brought him down to like 150 HP. And oh, the Rune battle going out, paralyzing cask, Rune spawns. Io, he still manages to bottle it up just because he was standing on it.
Yes, fortunate for the Eye there, yeah, he's going to get the bounty in. He's got the ball charges, so yeah, Witch Doctor's not going to be able to do anything more about that. But mid lane jumping in now on Keshet. Taking a few right click damage, but they don't want to dive too far. They haven't got any creeps to tank up the tower damage, but I mean, this Slark-Io combo mid, it's kind of working. I mean, obviously it's securing the last hits and the farm for the Slark quite effectively. I mean, he's sitting on 12-3 against the Dragon Knight's 5-0. And as you said, you know, they're keeping the Dragon Knight on his toes with the occasional jumps in. They're keeping him low, making him burn through that regen. He is down to just 2 more tangos, whereas it's going to be very hard to harass the Slark out lane, especially as he has got this IO with those bottle charges.
Overall, the laning is just heavily favoring MiTH at the moment as it is. They are winning 2 of the 3 lanes, and even on the 3rd lane, Centaur at least is getting levels. He's not gonna get the crazy fast blink dagger or anything, but having Stampede at your disposal already can help out so much in certain situations. Whether you want to dive or escape, whatever it may be. And it being global plays a huge part there as well. So he's getting quite a lot done. Batrider, although Abaddon is there to back him up, he still can't just get too much farm, 5-0 for himself. Like we already mentioned, Kechikimba mid lane struggling so hard as well, at least for last hits. Getting a decent amount of XP at the very least. But MiTH definitely looking much better than in game number 1 already.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a better start for the side of MiTH, because yeah, nothing kind of early and aggressive coming out from the side of Invasion. It's just, yeah, because they really can't do it at the moment. I mean, top lane, they're not going to have a chance of killing this Centaur. He's far too tanky, especially with the fact that they're just running the dual lanes at the moment. Batrider has left the bottom lane. He's headed to the jungle to get himself a few stacks set up. And has left Abaddon here just to soak up the XP and try and work on getting his ultimate as well. Perhaps so they can start to make some of these early dives and make some of these early plays. Rune is going to be secured again by the IO on bottom. It's going to be picked up by Scarf. It's going to be an invis. They might look for a bit of action with this one. I mean, they might even be able to catch out the Abaddon. If they can get an Ancient Seal into a Stormhammer, this is an Abaddon that's going to be in a lot of trouble. But they did, of course, have a ward on that rune and Abaddon. He should be playing very safely now. Top laner, what's going on?
Do they really want to dive this? Okay, taking a lot of damage. If only Hoofstone connects double edge. Oh, he manages to just get rid of the tower aggro just in time. But that was way too close. I mean, they got really nothing out in return. Only, I guess, Centaur damaging himself with the double edge, but... Oh, it was a tactical bait. They're going again. The Hoofstomp is there, FC. He's still not tanking the tower. Okay, dropping low as well. One double edge is gonna be enough. He's gonna get the counter kill. First blood drawn by Hihi. Now SD comes in, keeps him alive for a little while longer. FC gonna lose his own life. What a turnaround.
Yeah, some nice TPs in there from the side of MiTH. And, yeah, I think that was a very nice trade for them indeed. You know, they do lose their offlaner, but they pick off 2 kills in return. And that also obviously involves the Sky from the IO in those, getting them a nice little bit of XP. Mid lane, Slark making a jump onto Dragonite, but he turns around straight away with some return aggression. IO is back in mid. Hasn't got any bottle charges though, so isn't going to be able to tank the Dragonite up too... sorry, no, the Slark up too much. Oh, in fact, it looks like Witch Doctor was thinking about TPing in mid there, but actually cancelled it. The Slark is very low.
That was definitely a misclick, because he was also carrying the bottle for Kechikimba, so he was supposed to deliver it. And yeah, Dragonite gonna have to run. They're gonna courier it anyway now. A little bit unfortunate, just 100 gold wasted on the Witch Doctor as well. Supports, they don't have too much gold to throw around really, especially since he just died as well. So MiTH still looking pretty good. My pro doesn't get too many levels out of it being a dual lane mid lane and them not getting any kills. But it's just fine. I mean, Lakel's still farming up, #1 in last hits in the game. And well, do we have Invasion getting any item pickups here for Bristleback, for example? Just Power Trails at the moment and a Ring of Regen, so might be going for mech.
Yeah, I think a mech would be a very nice pickup. I mean, as for mech carries on the side of Invasion, I mean, obviously Abaddon or Witch Doctor, but they're not going to have the farm anywhere nearly as quickly as the Bristleback is. Mech would be a very nice item, and it would allow them to start trying to push a little bit harder than they have been. And also in the sense that, again, I mean, late game, I still think MiTH have the edge. You know, having the Slark and having the Sven as your 2 cores, I just think they're going to scale that little bit better than the Dragonite and the Bristleback.
I tend to agree with you there, especially if the IO is backing up really either of them with the overcharges as well. Invasion, they might be a little bit stronger in the mid game, but that really of course depends what items Sven and the Slark are gonna go for. Sven, he's just so tanky, especially with the Warcry. It's really hard to bring him down, as is the Bristleback. So both of them have some hard to kill cores, but MiTH, they're gonna have the Mystic Flare to work with soon enough in half a level. And Invasion, what do they have in return? I mean, Abaddon to try to keep people alive, I guess. But they just don't have the damage output potential. I mean, Witch Doctor Death is going to be excellent, but he's still 2 levels away from it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, these supports on the side of Invasion aren't getting the greatest of levels. Mid lane, a lot of damage going down on Kessie because he gets jumped in on the Ancient Seal as well as the Pounce and the Dark Pact. More than enough burst damage, but here's the Bouncing Casket. It's going to catch her out. They are going to be able to get a return kill on the Iron. Now it's Slark and Scarif Mage on the retreat. Bristleback and Witch Doctor aren't going to be able to chase any further. But a 1-for-1 trade, and one that does favour MiTH yet again, bringing down the Dragon Knight and only losing the Aya.
It definitely does. Just once again, we see mid laners to at least they attempt to shut them down. Dragon Knight 25 lasted, so not doing that bad level wise as well. But an important kill, and it would have been that much easier for MiTH to get the kill, but the Pounce failed. I think he was a little bit too eager to go for it before the concussive shot came out from the Skyraf. So could have waited, could have done it a little bit better as Ghost is gonna find Gacha in the jungle. Had the lasso, couldn't get close enough though. And now there's the relocate coming in. They want to go for the kill. Stormhammer is there as well. Firefly is still active. They need the Wisp Spirits to connect. Another Arcane Bolt. I think they're gonna get the kill with this. No, the Aphotic Shield keeps him alive with the Mist Coil. Oh god, Abaddon to the rescue. And now relocate ends. Maybe should have left the core hero there, but they want to go again. ADTR, he doesn't have his ultimate like kills. Another Stormhammer, a Aphotic Shield comes out, but you don't get rid of the stun, of course. He's gonna go down. Okay, he's silenced up as well. They're gonna chase for more. Can okay deny himself to the Roshan man? Roshan, are you a man? No, you're not. Okay, even runs out from there. I don't know why. He could have still tried to attempt it. Paralyzing Cask, but not enough.
Oh man, this chase coming out from MiTH. Now this IO just doing absolute work, because it looks like they might even be able to bring down the Dragon Knight with the Slark and the Sven jumping in. Sven now with God's strength, getting that bonus damage, hitting pretty hard, but nicely picked off there. They pick off the IO, and now without the IO, MiTH, they need to be very, very careful. In fact, they need to get the hell out of here. TP coming in now from the Witch Doctor as well. Stern onto the Bat Rider. They will pounce on him. They bring him down. Sven now being caught out by the Abandon. The Witch Doctor can Slark, chip away quick enough. The Fox Shield on the Witch Doctor. No mana on the Slark. They're going to have to back off now, but well, they get out pretty much scot-free again. Only the IO going down the side of MiTH, and they do bring down the Bat as well after a TP in from the Witch Doctor. Doesn't save him quite in time. And MiTH, yeah, it's definitely looking a lot better this game than it was in the first one.
Oh, it most certainly is. Skyref did die as well. Dragon Knight just turned around. One Breathe Fire was enough to get the kill Skyref. Shouldn't really not have chased there. He wanted the XP. They were like, oh, free kill. But you have to just be a little bit wary of your own life as well. Centaur still doesn't have his Blink Dagger. He's trying to farm it up, going to the top lane now. He's completely out of mana though. But, I mean, any kind of farm on the Centaur will help. If he gets the Blink Dagger within the next, like, 3 minutes, it's still gonna be decent enough timing. You really need to get it pre-15 minutes and it's gonna be fine. Io hasn't picked up anything huge either. Skyref Mage though, he's level 6. So Stormhammer into Mystic Flare can, or at least should be able to kill anybody unless the Abaddon is there in time.
Yeah, and top lane, well, old Centaur needs to be careful, Kessick. You see GA8 coming in. FSC, FC, and well, the whole 5-man actually of invasion now on this top lane. Looks like they're going to try and take this tier 1. You know, still yet to take a tower. In fact, both sides. And they're coming up to 11 minutes in, and Centaur, he's backed up. It's only the Scarif actually that's hanging around here at the moment. But he needs to be careful, and well, there's a fortification available. But again, you know, pressure's being put on mid by MiTH and the bottom lane. So they're looking to try and get some aggression on a couple of towers of their own. It looks like they will just let this one go. Don't even put the fortification. That was a little bit questionable. Obviously, they
popped it just after the tower died,
oh,
so
man.
They won't have it anymore. Oh god.
Oh dear. A little bit of miss. They do get tier 1 bot, but I mean, yeah, with that little bit of missed timing, they might even lose the tier 2 top.
I think the Dire didn't use fortification either, though.
Oh, did they not?
At least they have it still, so they didn't misuse it.
Yes, yeah, that's true. They have it.
My pro, he has a Shadow Blade flying out to him. Does he want to go Ghost? He has it Dark Pact activated from my pro Stampede just to make sure they escape, but it's a tier 2 and tier 1 for only a tier 1 in return, so Invasion getting the better trade.
Indeed, and Baron needs to be careful now. He's going to walk into a Scarif. He might try and jump on this, but yeah, Slark is here with the Shadow Blade. He's ready to go, and in fact, the Firefly broke through a lovely little path through the trees for the Slark to follow down, and they pick themselves off a nice kill, but I mean, it's still going very well for MiTH, but yeah, just a little bit of misplays there, losing the 2 towers on the top lane. That really didn't need to happen, and that's kind of given Invasion a nice little bit of gold that they were missing out on.
So 8-4 now, the overall kill score. Looking at the graphs, about a 3k network lead for MiTH. XP nearing 4,000 already. That's a little bit surprising. Centaur has his Blink Dagger now as well finished. So not doing bad at all. Ghost of course has his own Blink Dagger. I don't know why he chose to stay on the high ground. I think he could have just blinked towards his own really side of the map and been able to outrun them. But well, yeah. It's like one death. It's not a disaster or anything. But it's just that Ghost, he has the Blink Dagger, and I'm almost certain that MiTH are aware of the Blink as well, so it's not going to be a surprise anymore.
No, that's true. But yeah, I mean, looking at the farm on these individual heroes, I mean, we see 5.8k and 5.6k on the Sven and the Slark, and then, I mean, where's your Dragon Knight? He's still just sitting on 4k. I mean, yeah, the Bristlebat's close, but in an ideal world, I think you'd much rather have more farm on this Dragon Knight, especially in this situation. They're going to try and make a push on this bottom tier 1, but at the same time, Slark there, the Who Storm and the Double Edge and the Mystic Flare, bursting them down. That's the Dragon Knight down, that's an Abaddon down. Now Bristleback, he's on the retreat as well as the Bat Rider, and well, Bristleback, I don't know if he's going to be able to get out of there. To pounce perfectly on point. Bouncing cast comes in, it's not going to be enough. They take a second, third kill. And at the same time, they've only lost one hero. And Witch Doctor, he's going to go down as well. And at the end of the day and at the end of the fight, it's a 4-for-1 trade going the way of MiTH. And the game's starting to look rockier and rockier for Invasion.
Oh man, this initiation was almost perfect. And the biggest deal was that Abaddon, he did not have his ultimate. He's still not level 6. Although he was left on the bottom lane for quite some time to try to soak up some XP. But he's just had such a bad laning phase. If he had been level 6, he would have stayed alive, would have maybe been able to keep some other heroes alive as well with the Photic Shield and Mist Coil. But not to be. Excellent jump as well, Stampede, beautiful Blink, Hoof Stomp onto 2. Just excellently done, and Well, 12 to 5 MiTH. Get even farther ahead. Their cores keep on farming. Do they have any more items like a mech, for example, coming out? Nope. Io does have 1.2k gold though, so you can try to go for it. And in that fight, Bristleback, he had his mech finished, even a Vitality booster after that, but he just wasn't there fast enough.
No, he wasn't there fast enough, and he's just not tanky enough either. I mean, they chased him down, they brought him down, and that's not what you want this Bristleback to be happening to him, especially at this point in the game where your lineup really should be, you know, just a little bit stronger than MiTH's. But MiTH, they just had such a good early game that they're heroes that maybe you'd expect to come online a little bit later, just coming online now. And I don't think Invasion are going to be able to fight up against this. I mean, the difference is getting bigger and bigger. This is a nice attempt with the smoke gank though, but again, they're just going to waltz straight past the Skyraf, and they're going to turn around, turn their attention back to him. But at the same time, I mean, there is a Slark, and there is also a Centaur about. Centaur might be able to make a big play here. And looks like he's just going to let the Skyraf go. Realizes, you know, there's the whole 5-man there. There's not too much the Centaur could do. I mean, yeah, he could hold it off with a Who Stomp for the time being. Did, in fact, have a Stampede, actually. Actually, no, I'm going to change my mind. I think Centaur could have saved the Skyraf there, but hey-ho, he didn't feel like it.
I mean, Skyraf losing him, not a big deal. Like kills though.
No.
He's level 11. He finished up an SNY already on the Sven. Gonna go for the tower as well. It might be another tower trade, tier 1 for tier 1. Sure looks like it at the moment. Like kills dropping pretty low, and they're gonna relocate out just in case. But mid lane, they're gonna get Hee with the lasso. MyPro, he's in there as well. Activates the Shadow Dance. He's gonna have to run away because otherwise he's just gonna be taken out. Dragon Tail, no Dark Pack. There's the Death Ward, and they lose 2 cores plus a tower.
Oh wow, yeah, very nice bit of play there for Invasion. And in fact, I mean, the fact that they've still got obviously this Dragon Form with the Corrosive Breath up on Kesikimba, they're able to pressure this tier 2, and they might even just take the tier 2 as well. There is a fortification available, but as you said, you know, MiTH 2 cores down. They do have this Sven who's looking pretty scary. In fact, he goes straight in, but he's getting blocked by the Batrider. He can't get any hits in. Mystic Flare's going to be off point. Wishtrot getting very, very low. Throws a bouncing cast back. Dragonite is just going to TP straight out. He is going to be able to escape. And so far, Invasion, they're getting away with this. Wish Doctor, he's going to go out as well. The stun's not going to be there, but they are going to be able to lock down the Bristleback. Mech's going to be popped. He's still alive for the time being. Tries to TP out at the last moment. He's going to fall. Abaddon has got the ultimate, has got the borrowed time. Going to keep him alive for a little bit. There's still a Who Stomp available to lock him down. They don't even need it. Stormhammer's going to be enough. And they do get a couple of kills, but that could have gone a lot worse for Invasion.
Oh, it definitely could. The disengage was decent-ish. Could have still been a little bit better. Maybe Bristleback could have tried to attempt a TP a little bit earlier, straight after the first Stormhammer came, for example.
Yeah.
But of course, the Centaur just always lurking about with the Blink Hoof Stomp. If Invasion had gotten the tier 2, it would have been just well worth it at the moment. Kind of breaking even. I mean, towers were exchanged, kills pretty much the same. So, still not looking too bad, but the biggest deal is that Lakels, he hasn't died at all on the Sven. He's just racking up so much gold. He has 9.6k. He was neck and neck with Slark at some point, suddenly 3k above.
Yeah, this Slark is getting a lot of farm under his belt. I'm not quite sure about the item build. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Sanj and Yasha. I guess because they are kind of ahead at this point in the game, and it is only 17 minutes in, and there's been a lot of fights. It is pretty effective now, but if it goes later, that item's going to fall off relatively quickly. So hopefully we're going to see a bit more of a big, hard-hitting item coming out from the Sven next. You know, something like the Daedalus. BKB, I mean, it's a good item on Sven, but I don't think he necessarily needs it this game because, I mean, he's not dying a huge amount. Well, he's not dying at all, in fact. So that doesn't seem to be an issue at all. And obviously, Lasso anyway is going to go for it. And there's a lot of physical damage coming out from Invasion. So I think Sven's pretty much safe to go for this high damage build and just rely on the IO keeping him alive, really.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. Having the SNY already, plus if you're tethered up as well, you're going to move so damn fast. I mean, there's going to be like 2 stuns from Invasion, and that's more or less it. Oh, Ghost gonna get slowed down. Do they pop the Mystic Flare here? He couldn't blink, of course, thanks to the Firefly. There's the Death Ward as well. They really want to turn it around. Okay, he's gonna get caught first. Can they get more? They want to pounce. Does not connect onto Ghost. Kechikimba gets the Dragon Tail, but he gets the Purge of Shadow Dance just before his death. So clutch. Mystic Flare completely whiffed. They're just gonna slow down Lakels. Vicious Nasal Goo. Just too much, and it's a 1-for-1 support for core. MiTH, I thought it's gonna go way better for them, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I mean, it looked like it was going great. They were chasing down the side of Invasion, but Invasion just turning straight around. Dragon Knight now, obviously, with the level 11, with our second point in Elder Dragon form, is really effective at this stage of the game, and absolutely melting through the side of MiTH. And MiTH, they're going to look to try and defend this tier 2, but they don't have a Sven about. And Centaur, he's back in base healing up. Has got a TP, so we might see him come straight out to try and defend this tower. And here we go. So now Centaur returning to the lane, and it is going to force Invasion back, but a Hoofstomp's going to catch Bristleback out, trying to chase it down, but Dragon Knight turning straight around, and they might even bring him down. The heals coming out from Io is going to be enough, but at the same time, Bristleback just running in, creating havoc. That's one hero down. It's going to be 2 heroes down. Io's on his own. Bristleback might even dive this now. He's going to head back and just join the rest of the team as they pick off the Slark as well, and suddenly the gap is being closed by Invasion, and MiTH, they need to be really careful.
They're taking just extremely bad fights. I mean, Slark, he escaped the previous just small skirmish with like 100 HP, managed to pop the Shadow Dance in time. This time around, Shadow Dance was still on cooldown for 2 more seconds as he died. That's just no good. Suddenly there's a BKB finished on Ketchikinba's Dragon Knight. He can feel that much safer. Lakels and SD, they do take down a tier 2 themselves. But this is also now the Crimson Guard finished on FCFC. With the mech and Crimson Guard, this Bristleback is so ridiculously tanky, and MiTH just jumping onto the Bristleback, initiating onto him, I think was a huge mistake as well, especially into the back of him. I mean, Hoofstomp and Double Edge both to the back. They just tickled him.
Yeah, absolutely. This Bristleback is, this Crimson Guard. In fact, yeah, as you said, just doing absolute work. Going for Roshan now. I'm not sure if this is the best idea. I mean, they're doing it relatively quickly with the armor injection, but here goes he's got the initiation, and the rest of his team are quick to follow. Or are they? Maybe not quick enough. Sven's still a little bit too far away. Here he comes now. And he's going to throw down the Stormhammer onto the Bristleback. But BKB now on the Dragon Knight. They're trying to turn this one round. Death Ward as well. Slowly melting down the Kells. Is he going to be able to get out of this? Yes, he will, because there's a stun on the Witch Doctor. Tries to turn this round, though. He hasn't got the right-click damage, though, because he hasn't got God's Strength for another 15 seconds. Slark getting very, very low. Is he going to be able to get out of this one? No, he's not. They are going to lose a hero. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but with with the Slark down, it looks like they're going to go back for Roshan, but now BKB is on the Kells. He's not even got God Strength, but he's doing so much damage. That's 1 hero down. Dragon Knight, he's going to go down as well. Bristleback, he's still tanky, but this time God Strength is online. And he's going to slowly chip away at this Bristleback. There's going to be a Hoofstomp available in a couple of seconds. Stormhammer as well in 1. And with that, 1 stun, 2 stun. There we go. Mech isn't going to save you this time. And that was the fight the MiTH Trust were looking for, especially seeing as they should be able to clear at Roche as well with that.
Kel's having the BKB charging in like that, and like I said, no God Strength, but oh, never mind, he got the God Strength at some point at the release.
Yeah, just got it for the Bristleback at the end. It finally came online, but yeah, he didn't need it at the beginning.
Just cleaving through people, Cleave maxed out, of course, with the levels that he has. They don't get Roshan in return, but Invasion, pretty much all that they had gained with just a nice couple of fights, getting the towers as well, they lost with this engagement. It looked good at the start for them, getting the kill onto Slark like that and only losing, I think it was a Witch Doctor. In the end, though, just stuck around for a little bit too long. It was way too greedy going back into Roche Pit with just such low mana and health and just having your spells on cooldown. But that just happened. Looking at the graphs, have been a little bit rocky, and whoa, Lakels gets another kill. This Sven, man.
Yeah, nice relocate gank there from Io onto the Batrider. And I mean, with the Batrider down, MyPro, he's going to look for some action on a Baden. And she's still going to be pot. They do find the pounce. Yeah, it's going to be borrowed time keeping alive. He's going to try to keep it away, but Stormhammer's going to say no. And fortunately enough, the Stormhammer damage is actually coming through after borrowed time came off. So nice, easy kill. Going to put Lakels on a mega kill streak. And now with 2 heroes down, I'd say they're definitely safe to go for the Roche Pit. They know that the side of Invasion knows. But again, you know, Lakels, he has got the BKB available again if anyone jumps in. Actually deciding to use the God Strength here to take down Roshan at a quicker pace rather than saving it for a potential team fight, but hey ho, he's going to be able to get the Aegis by the looks of it. Now he's going to go the way of the Sven. So Lakels is going to have that, and there's going to be a TP back now from Centaur just to clear out the wave that's got a little bit too close to the racks on the top lane, but the rest of the team in the jungle, they might even be ready to go in for a fight here. They haven't got any vision though on this lane, so they don't know that the entire team of Invasion is here, but looking good for MiTH, especially with that Roshan pickup.
It's absolutely huge. I mean, Lakels, he can just go berserk, even without Yayo being present. Gem also picked up on the center now. So they're going to be able to counter vision, just completely make it so that Invasion, they're going to have to be blind. And of course, they can themselves ensure that they can relocate, for example, without the enemy having vision or something like that. So, looking extremely good for MiTH indeed. Invasion, what can they do though? Ghost, he has the 4-staff on the Batrider, maybe just try to look for pickoffs. Although, they don't have just the follow-up jumps. It's not like Dragon Knight has a Blink or a Shadow Blade of his own. So Batrider, if he pulls somebody, he's gonna have to make sure that his own team can't be close enough because they're lacking a little bit of mobility.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. You know, they've got to be careful. They've got to try and find their way around this map, but they don't really have the sources to do so.
Oh god, they're gonna get center. No, they don't have vision of him. It's only a sentry being destroyed by him. If this sentry was an observer ward, Batrider just easy jump onto him with LSO, drag him into 4 people center. He was alone. It would have been a kill onto a core plus the gem, but not to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would have been a great place to jump on him there, but as you said, no high ground vision there on the in the Radiant jungle, apart from right slap bang in the middle for invasion, but just not where they needed it at that moment in time. Slark needs to be careful here. I mean, might go and try and scout someone out. He has got the shadow blade. There is no detection at the moment on the side of invasion, so he's going to be alright for the time being. Looks like, yeah, MiTH, they're just going to work on getting this bottom lane pushed out as well as the mid lane. Relocate is, of course, available, so if anything goes down in the mid lane, they can take a 2-on-5 engagement and turn it into a 4v5, bringing the Sven in as well. And the Sven now level 16, got a max level in God Strength. Indeed, I picked up the Hyperstone as well, so I imagine he is just going to be going for that Assault Cuirass.
It will make the most sense. It's pretty nice against what the invasion has. Bristleback, pretty much purely physical damage. Dragon Knight, a decent amount of it as well. So AC gonna help so much. Plus, if you win a fight, you can suddenly demolish a base as well, thanks to the minus armor applied to buildings as well. MyPro still working towards that BKB. His farm has been slowed down considerably. He has died quite a couple of times in the past engagement. So Slark isn't snowballing that heavily, but Sven is doing it just double for him as well.
Yeah, the amount of farm this Sven's pretty ridiculous. He's having a great game at the moment. And yeah, I mean, Slark has fallen behind a little bit. I mean, in the past, he was on top of the Bristle and the Dragon Knight, but they managed to catch up with him now. And the Invis Rune is going to be picked up and bottled up by the IO, in fact. So I wonder, well, I guess they just need the bottle charges, really. I guess an Invis Rune, even if it went the way of Centaur, is not going to help you catch anyone out, because Invasion, they've got a fair few sentries down around the map. And they really don't want to get themselves caught out yet again, because obviously you're talking about how they did lose that one big team fight at Roche, kind of set them back the 2 fights that they had going their way previously, and they don't want to get any further behind. But then again, I mean, they've got a great team for turtling, but as for kind of when it eventually does come to the team fight, I still just got to feel that MiTH are going to come out on top.
They most likely are, especially now that the AC is flying out. BKB gonna be finished for MyPro as well. They just have so much in the fights, whereas Invasion, at least they have the Mechon Bristleback and the Crimson Guard. Definitely gonna mitigate quite a lot of physical damage coming out. But, I mean, there's a Blink on Dragon Knight, so they're gonna have 2 heroes to jump in. But having the Blink on Dragon Knight means that he might not do that much damage. Ghost, oh, they're gonna get the Hoof Stomp, Mystic Flare to follow. Easy jump, easy kill.
Indeed, and with the Batrider down, Stampede's actually being used, trying to get MyPro to chase someone down. And here, this is why, because Io and Sven coming in. Goodbye, Dragon Knight. He's down. Therefore, doing a hefty amount of damage to the Io, but they do manage to get the Hoostomp onto the Witch Dot to cancel that. He goes down as well. There's a TP out from one of the members, but at the same time, it's only the Abaddon getting away, and it's a triple kill going the way of the Sven. Well, I think that was pretty much the Assault Cuirass coming into action there.
Man, what a beast mode. Came in, immediately popped the God Strength and just started mowing down people. I'm not 100% certain, but I think it was like maybe 2 right clicks at the most that got the borrow time activated from Abaddon already. He's just doing way too much damage with the God Strength at this point in time. 27 minutes in Invasion. They just don't have the means to tank it up. At least not when the jump was perfect from MiTH, to be honest. Just relocated in, and Invasion, they were in the middle of backing off. So they were in no just way ready to take the fight. They even popped the smoke, which got just disabled immediately by the Slark being there with the Shadow Blade. And Slark, he didn't even need to use the BKB in that fight.
Yeah, he didn't. That's a good point. And yeah, MiTH very confidently coming out on top of that one. And I mean, yeah, it's looking rocky for Invasion. I mean, they've got to pull something big out, and, well, the kind of something big was the Dragon Knight, and, well, Sven, with a couple of hits, had something to say about that Dragon Knight. And this Dragon Knight is he's so underfarmed just in comparison to the Sven. I mean, you know, he's sitting on less than half the amount of net worth. Batrider, what are you doing, son? He's going to be fine. Centaur's not going to be able to blink in for the time being. He's being burnt up by the Firefly.
It was so weird. I mean, my pro, he was taking down to the Firefly, but Shadow Dance was also active at the same time, so he didn't really take any damage. Oh man. Centaur has the Vanguard finished, so they're gonna have their own Crimson card if he wants to just upgrade it. Oh, that's a huge item pickup. Vladimir's offering, boosting up the damage of both the Slark and the Sven, plus the lifesteal.
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be pretty crazy. With the auras coming out now, you know, the mech, you know, add potential Crimson Guard. Assault, Kras and Vlads. Oh, look at this. Ghost jumping in on the Centaur. It's a pretty smart initiation. Has got the Stampede though, and he is going to be able to get it out just in time. And in fact, he's going to go out without dying. Here comes the Sven. The damage coming through Mech and Crimson Guard. Going to be able to negate a little bit of it, but he chases down the Dragon Knight. That BKB isn't going to save you from the right clicks of this Sven. At the same time, they've also lost the Abandon and the Witch Doctor. And GG is going to get called by Invasion. And as you said, it's the curse of the 1-1.
And it's happened again, and they didn't even kill the Centaur in that fight. They jumped on him pretty much with everything, but relocate with Lakel's. Lakel's just sickening physical damage coming out. BKB or not, he didn't care. So, excellent game from MiTH, tying up the series. Unfortunately, we don't have the third one because this was a 2-game series instead of a best of 3. But in about 1 hour 10 minutes or so, we're gonna have more of MiTH Trust. This time around, they're gonna go up against Arcanis, a Filipino team. So
that's true, yeah.
Should be another great game, but we're gonna keep the stream running for a couple of minutes probably. Just a few songs, then close it up and start it up, I think like 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the next series. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope you enjoyed the cast. If you did, be sure to follow HeflaTV on our social media as well as our Twitch. It's pretty much HeflaTV everywhere. You can find the necessary links below the stream as well. For the casters personally, if you want to leave feedback, follow us, whatever, it's at Coucher for me everywhere. At ODPixel for my co-caster. And any last words?
Well, not too much really, apart from it was nice to see MiTH obviously come back, take the second game after it was kind of stompy and a bit dirty coming out from Invasion in the first one. So it's always nice to see a 1-1. You know, it means that both teams come out with a little bit of something. But you could argue it means they're both kind of on a level playing field, the same place they were when it started. But hey ho, and yeah, just looking forward to the games we've got for the rest of the day. As you said, in about an hour, going to be kicking off with a second game of MiTH, yeah, up against Arc. So that should be a good one as well. I believe you'll be joining me for the first of those 2 games, won't you, Coucher?
Yes, depending on how fast they go, maybe even 2 of them. But yeah, guys, we'll see you in about 1 hour then. So see you for now and just have a good one.